Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Han and these are my two horses. Over here we have Fletch and this is Peach, and I know a few people have trouble telling them apart because they are similar looking, but basically Fletch is the taller, naughtier one that has, well, it's true Fletch, you are, and he has the white markings on his face, whereas Peach, she is totally plain and super chill and a little bit chubby, so that's how you tell them apart. But basically these two are going to be helping me out in today's video. We're going to be testing, excuse me Fletch, we're going to be testing out 3 different saddle pads at 3 completely different price points, and we're going to try and decide which is the best for the price. So a bit of background, I have been trying to film this video for months now. I literally bought some of these things back in November of last year with full intentions of filming the video back then and just have not gotten around to it. So finally today I'm going to be reviewing these pads. Now the first one we've got up is essentially the low end of what I'm going to show you guys today. So first up we have our $10 saddle pad. Now I bought this one from Horseland back in November of last year, and it doesn't even have a brand name. It's simply called the all-purpose pad. And you know what, I actually had high hopes for this. If you go online, this actually has like a 5-star rating on their website, so people are really liking it. I saw it in their Instagram post, it actually looked pretty nice. I then proceeded to go into one of their stores, and from a distance, you know, I came in, they had the big display, heaps of colours, all $10. I'm like, oh my god, they look really good. But then you get up close and you touch and you feel this and you're like, yep, I understand why this is only a $10 saddle pad. I don't really even understand how you can make this saddle pad for $10. Its regular price is actually $14.99, but every single time they have a big sale, it goes down to $10. So the fabric on this is exactly what you'd expect for $10, let's be real. It is quite stiff, it's not the nicest feel, it's quite rough. The saddle pad, from what I can tell, is 100% polyester, which means it's really not going to breathe that well. So I wouldn't suggest using this if you're going to be doing hard work with your horse where you're expecting them to sweat up a lot, because I think they're going to slightly overheat in something like this. The stitching is okay on the top part, it actually looks pretty clean, but when you look at the underneath, and I'll give you guys a bit of a close-up, you can see where the foam infill is coming out through the stitching. There was like a ton of colour options when I went in store. If you do go online, just be aware though, it just says assorted, so basically they're going to decide what colour you get sent out. And the one thing I will say is the shape of this is actually pretty nice. You can see even on Peach that there's a little bit of wheeler clearance there, and there's even a little bit of spinal clearance at the back, so they have done a good job with the shape. So we are going to have a quick ride in this and just see how it goes. My prediction is that Peach is going to end up a little bit sweaty in this, just based on it being 100% polyester, because she does tend to sweat up either way because it is quite warm here at the moment. But let's just see how it goes. So I will say this before I even get on, I do think that the fit is actually pretty good. Keep in mind that my saddle is a jumping and this is an all-purpose pad, but it's pretty decently sized. This is the full size, by the way. So I've only been walking Peach around for about 5 minutes, and this saddle pad, as you can see, is already slipping behind the saddle, and I've even put the keepers on, which I usually wouldn't do. And honestly, these are still really loose, so I don't think they're really going to help until the saddle pad's halfway under the saddle at this point, so not a great start. So I've probably been riding for about like 15 minutes now, and I have to say it hasn't slipped back as much as I thought it might, but it has gone a little bit further. Still not as bad as I thought, but yeah, not fantastic. And she is starting to sweat up just a little bit, so probably, like I said, the polyester isn't super breathable, so not ideal, because we haven't really done enough work yet to warrant sweat. So this next one is essentially the middle of the range option. And this particular one is going to look familiar to some of you guys who have followed me for a while. So this is the Lemieux Pro Sport Close Contact Jumping Pad, and this one cost me $79.95. Before I'd even bought one of these, I'd seen it on Instagram like a heap, so it made me really interested to go and buy one myself. And I bought this one when I was at Melbourne 3-day last year. So that's our international horse trials we have here in Melbourne. So I think that was June of last year. My first impression when I saw these in person for the first time is that number one, the shape of them is really cool, and I love that it's so anatomical. And number two is that there are so many unique colors in this brand. I think they've done such a good job at setting themselves apart from other brands. And you also get a choice of fabric. So this one is in the suede, which is personally my favorite, but there's also a cotton option. And they all come with this really nice bamboo lining, which is supposed to be really breathable and moisture wicking, making it nice and comfortable for the horse. And then you also get the little added extras, so the keepers, which I actually love, even though I hate keepers. If any of you guys have watched my videos before, you would know I pretty much always cut these off, and it says a lot that I've kept them on this saddle pad. And you also get this girth guard too, which is really good. Now obviously there's not really going to be any surprises for me when I ride in this, because I've ridden in this extensively with the horses, both of them. I will say it's washed up really well, so I would just throw this through the washing machine and it doesn't lose any of its structure. It fits Peach really well, even though she has quite a roly-poly back. And even on Fletch, who has a really big wither because he's a thoroughbred, this still gives him plenty of clearance. I would definitely say that the breathability and the moisture wicking claims are there, because I do find that the horses sweat up less if I use this on a warmer day, or if I'm doing some more extensive work where they're going to be sweating, they definitely seem to stay a little bit cooler in this. And I definitely find that this will not slip or move at all while I'm riding. I don't know if it's a combination of the shape being fitted so well to the horse, whether it's the bamboo lining, the fact that I actually use the keepers on this. I just find it sits really nicely. So I've probably been riding Peach for about another 15 minutes now, and I actually took her over some prop poles and amped up the work a little bit. And I checked before, the sweating's actually gone away since I put the Lemieux pad back on. So definitely you can see that there's a difference in the breathability and moisture wicking in this than there was in the $10 pad. Because in the $10 pad she was starting to sweat after like a 10-minute warm-up, which was mostly walking. So definitely a big difference. And no slipping, so that's good too. So I just want to see after the ride how much sweat there actually is underneath the saddle. You can see she's definitely sweated up on the girth points and even where her bridle was sitting as well. And there's pretty much no sweat. That's why generally I prefer these breathable materials, especially when you live in a hotter climate area like we do in Australia. So this is our last and most expensive option of all three. This is the Eco Gold Secure Cross Country Pad, and it costs $220, which very pricey for a saddle pad. So I bought this one at Equestrian last year, which would have been roughly November. I'd seen this online quite a bit. I know a lot of top event riders sort of use saddle pads like this, and this particular saddle pad as well. I have to say my first impression when I actually saw it in person is that it's kind of a weird saddle pad. And I don't mean that in necessarily a bad way, but it's just that the material is actually a lot thinner than your normal saddle pad, and it's just almost weird that it is so thin, especially at the bottom here. You can see I can really just like scrunch it up. It's really thin. The other thing too is the material is pretty unique, and the whole underneath is coated in, I'm gonna say it's sort of rubberized, because I don't really know how else to describe it, and I can't find what this is actually made out of. I can't actually find anything specific on the website or on the product, so I'm assuming it's some kind of technical fabric, because they do claim that it's made from 100% breathable materials, and that they're all moisture wicking as well. It also comes with a panel at the top here, which is made from what they call high density foam, which apparently is supposed to make it more comfortable for the horse. So one of the main claims that Eco Gold make about their saddle pads is that there will be no slipping or sliding even in the worst conditions. So that's something I'm interested to try out, because obviously that has a lot to do with the pricing as well, and it's one of their main selling points. I just want to see really quickly if I just chuck the saddle on without a girth, just see if we can get some slipping or sliding. God, Peach, I think you might need a bigger size. In hindsight, I might have needed a slightly bigger size, to be honest. It looks okay, but I think it's right on the edge of just being a little bit too small for my saddle. So I'm just going to give it like a light push and just see what happens. Oh, that's pretty stuck, guys. Can you see how it's like not moving? It's kind of bouncing back to the same spot. Might be something to these claims. Oh, I'm actually pulling that really decently and it's not moving. It's only just moving. So I mean, that seems to work pretty well, to be honest. These are also made in Canada, so I assume too that that also has to do with the pricing. I mean, the quality in general does look really, really nice. Of course, I do love that this also has a really nice anatomical shape, but when I'm paying $220, that's pretty much like what I would consider a standard inclusion. In terms of color choice, there wasn't a heap when I went to Equitana. I think from memory, there was literally like a black, a white, and maybe a blue, and that was it. But I did check online and you can special order different colors into Australia. I believe if you're in America, you guys have a ton of options, so you're very lucky. Out of all three, I have to say this is the one I'm most excited to try out because it does have a lot of claims, and the main thing I want to see is if it is actually more breathable and sweat wicking than the Lemieux, because there's obviously quite a big difference in price. But I think at the end of the day, what you're going to be paying extra for in this one is the security. So I think I'm going to try this one out on Fletch because I'm going to be lunging him today, and he's had a couple months off work, so I have a feeling he's going to be a little bit excited and he's probably going to sweat up a bit. So it's just going to be interesting to see how this goes. So let's go try this one out and then I can give you guys my final opinion. I just want to see. I mean, he hasn't really sweated up. So it's a bit hard to tell because I've just taken Fletcher's girth off and he hasn't really sweated up. So I'm not really expecting there, yeah, and there's no sweat underneath, so I wasn't really expecting there to be any. He does feel pretty cool underneath there. So that to me says that definitely the breathability is working and the fabric's doing what it says it's able to do. I apologize that I'm not able to actually go and take this jumping. That would be like the real test. But you can see it really does grip to the back. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do the true test and take it jumping, which I'll be really interested to do in the near future. I apologize guys, my camera did run out of battery yesterday, so I didn't get to give you my final verdict. The one thing I am confident about is that the $10 pad is not it for me. I think just because you can make a pad for $10 doesn't mean that you should. Now, picking a winner was extremely difficult, and I think I'm kind of sitting on the fence still. I think if you are looking at it purely from like a value for money perspective, then the Lemieux has to be the winner because I think you get so much for $79. However, I think if you are looking for something that's super safe and super secure, then I would be spending the extra $140 to have that peace of mind and go for the Eco Gold pad. The quality was really beautiful and you do get the extra padding as well. So I think at the end of the day, it really depends what you're going to be doing. I think if you're just looking for a really good all-rounder, then I would go for the Lemieux. If you're going to be out doing some quite large jumps, or you're going to be out on cross country or doing a lot of fitness work, then the Eco Gold might be a really good option for you. I'm really interested to find out which one you guys thought was the best, so make sure to comment down below and let me know which one you think won. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more regular videos. One, two, three.